Hello, welcome. My name is Jenny. Thank you so much for joining me for today's essential oil video. Today I wanted to carry on a little bit of a discussion that we spoke about last week regarding cellular health. We covered last week the DDR prime, which is our cellular complex, and I mentioned a number of different things such as stress, improper diet, environmental toxins, all that kind of stuff that can actually over time affect our cells, as well as the free radical damage. The one thing that I didn't touch on that is very, very important and really a huge aspect of things that I do as a Reiki master and as an energy healer is talking about the effects that our emotions and our beliefs and our thoughts actually have on a cellular level. I personally have been a Reiki practitioner since the early 2000s, been a Reiki master since 2011, and along my journey I have learned so much about the mind-body connection. There are my beliefs that there are different parts of the body that actually represent different emotions. And although I will 100% honor the fact that there is definitely a human element to anything that's going on, when it comes to dealing with particular physical ailments, typically the emotion or the belief or the thought that is behind it is usually what is actually causing these particular physical ailments. To give you an idea, our lungs, for example, they represent grief, loss, anguish, yearning. Our liver holds on to anger. Our kidneys hold on to worry and fear. You know, every single part of the body, your right knee means something, your left knee means something, from your hips down means something, and so on. If you want more details about this, feel free, give me a shout. I love talking about this kind of stuff, and I can even offer you to check out and do a little research on the Chinese body clock, which is something that I have touched on every once in a while, but not got into full detail. The Chinese body clock is basically a 24-hour clock where different times of the day different organs are regenerating themselves. This particular clock also speaks to the emotion that is behind that particular organ. So for example, small intestine and feelings of vulnerability and things along those lines. So much that you can start to check in. What's neat about the Chinese body clock is that it can kind of show you where you may have an energetic block that has now become a physical manifestation. So during the nighttime, if you wake up, for example, a lot of people say, oh, I wake up every time to go to the washroom. And the reason that you're actually waking up at the same time isn't so much to go to the washroom. Sure, you'll go because you've been asleep for a while, but it was actually because there's something going on within that particular organ while it's regenerating itself. During the day, we may find that we have dips in energy, or maybe we crave things along those lines. So the way that our body and our emotions and our beliefs and our thoughts actually work together is such a huge part of how we're feeling and how our body actually works and heals itself. So what's awesome about the essential oils is they are just another form of, or another tool that we can use to help to retrain the brain. So I'm going to give you some of the spiritual stuff that I believe in, and then I'm going to give you the science behind it. So first off, in regards to my belief system, I believe that when we first are born, we are connected to Source. We know that we are 100% love. We know exactly what we've come here to do. Along the way, we learned that certain behaviors aren't appropriate, certain aspects of ourselves are not appropriate. We basically learned to create filters so that we were accepted and approved by everyone around us. Some things that we still do to this day. But what that means is when I have chosen to not act a certain way because somebody reacted funny to it, it means that I chose to contain my light. I was motivated to contain my light at some point. And so over time, I lost my true authenticity and I started to become somebody that everybody accepted. What this does over time is it creates limiting beliefs that we have on ourselves, and our body actually responds to these kind of beliefs and these kind of emotions. I know I can directly say that throughout my life, it's been amazing to see certain, skincare ailments, or perhaps even having issues with weight and things along those lines when I was feeling really bad about myself or very insecure about myself. One of the key things for me has really been learning the importance of truly loving every single thing about myself and recognizing the divine perfection that is within myself. Same with all of us. We're all unique in our own way. We've all come here to share our own unique version of love and light. And it's when we step into that true authenticity that everything flows. When we start to contain or things along those lines, we're actually closing off that free flowingness of energy. And with the laws of attraction, if you haven't learned about the laws of attraction, another thing, totally look it up. It is a life changer. My life, I know, has changed since I first was introduced to the laws of attraction. So definitely check that out. But basically the idea behind it is that whatever we think about, whatever we talk about, we continue to say yes to the universe. I want more of that. And again, we do typically speak a lot in the negative terms, such as I don't want to be fat, or I don't want to go to work, or whatever kind of negative things. if we start to learn to flip the thoughts behind that and start to speak in terms of things that we actually want, our body can respond to that a lot easier. But in terms, again, like if I'm saying, I hate my arm because it's fat or whatever the case might be, my body is actually responding to those negative thoughts and will actually create more of that issue or more of a not so great response. It's almost like basically telling your body that I'm not good enough and I don't want to be here anymore. Pardon for my close-up. I just want to grab a couple books that I forgot to get ready here. Give me 1 second. One of them is missing. That's okay. It's probably somewhere. I use these books all the time. I want to point these out because I feel that everyone should have these at home, and I don't should often. If you read the You Can Heal Your Life book by Louise Hay, this is her short form version. This book actually has a list of different physical ailments and the probable thought pattern, as well as then the new belief or affirmation that you can work with. The actual book itself is like a fluorescent yellow color, and it does have a whole front of the book is basically if she were to take you through a healing session or a therapy session, and you would reevaluate all areas of your life. So your thoughts and beliefs that you have about work, relationships, money, body, all that kind of stuff gets revisited. And again, these were things that were trained into us and programmed into us, and now that we're starting to develop more awareness, we can totally shift and reawaken to our truth, and things start to align a lot better. Again, if you have a physical ailment, I would love to hear from you because I can start to talk to you about the emotion that's behind it, if you're ready to work on it, of course. Now, for those that are more sciencey, I want to first off mention this particular book, which is done by Dr. Christine Page. It's called The Frontiers of Health. She is actually a doctor who also found that when she worked on people, the specific physical ailments, didn't seem to be a pattern behind them, other than the fact that there was a specific emotion behind certain ailments and whatnot. So she's actually written this book as well on a more from a sciencey point of view. But same thing, at the back of the book, there's a bunch of different ailments that she talks about and the emotions behind it. She even recognizes and talks about the energetic body systems, such as the chakras and things along those lines. So all of these things do tie in together, including the essential oils, which is one of the things that I really love about it. They align with what I like to teach about loving yourself and healing yourself and things like that. Essential oils are just another tool to reach for and retrain the brain. So here's my favorite science stuff about the reprogramming of thoughts that are going on within our brain, okay? So again, stuff that was passed on for years since we were born and didn't even know we were learning. But again, that's a whole other video. See, this is what I do. I can go on a tangent when I talk about this stuff. So our brain has, on average, about 60,000 thoughts a day. 90% of those are typically unconscious thoughts, okay? So that's about 54,000 thoughts on average a day that we don't even know we're having. Okay, those thoughts are sent through 13,000 brain synapses, so regular brain connections. And basically, anytime we have a thought, there are 100,000 chemical reactions being sent to one of our trillion cells in 1 second. Okay, so that is why for me, I totally believe in the fact that, yeah, if I'm angry and I suppress it and I don't deal with that emotion, it's going to actually affect my liver because I'm sending those anger thoughts and I'm suppressing them, and my liver is going to hold on to them. Poor liver. Like, it's endocrine for the liver, okay? It's already got over 300 functions, and now it's dealing with the emotion of anger. Awesome. But basically, to add to that, okay, so what that basically means is if I'm having those same thoughts running through the same connections and so on and so forth, it doesn't matter if I come into a new experience, my brain is going to go back automatically to every single other time that it's had a similar experience and then tell me how to react and respond in this particular moment, which creates a cycle of I'm not really doing anything. My brain is doing all of it. I'm experiencing, reacting, and all of it without even realizing that, hey, I could have actually done something different there. So when we learn new things or when we try new things, such as an oil, or even today, if this is the first time you're hearing, you're actually learning something new. When we learn something new, we are basically then creating more brain synapses. So it goes from 13,000 brain synapses to 26,000 brain synapses. Here's the funny part. If we don't revisit that information, okay, because again, every time I have a thought, it sends a chemical reaction to my body. Our body gets addicted to those chemical reactions, which is why craving stuff, things along those lines, whatever it is, our body is basically trying to recreate those chemical reactions that it is grown to learn and love. So basically, if I don't revisit any information that I've just learned or what have you, after about 2 hours, my body starts to tell my brain we're feeling funny, and the brain will start to prune those new brain synapses, Whereas if I chose to revisit the information or talk about it or what have you, it actually will get the brain to double even more brain synapses. So it goes from 13,000 to 26,000 to 52,000 new brain connections. So as you can see how inviting new things or being fully present in every moment can actually help to maintain your brain being more active, you being more present and actually making decisions throughout the day as opposed to just autopiloting throughout the whole day, which it's going to then again change the effects of how we're feeling, how our body is going to respond because we're taking control instead of just letting whatever stuff happen. Okay, so that's the basic general gist. I'm sure, again, I could have gone into way more detail about a bunch of different things, but this is why I typically blow people's minds when I meet them for the first time. I'm going to leave it like that, but if you have any questions, feel free to give me a shout, please. I love talking about this kind of stuff. If there's anything that perhaps is coming up for you that maybe you want to work through, I'm also a Reiki master, and I also offer Reiki sessions here at my studio, so feel free, give me a shout. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to help you along your journey, just to remind you of stuff that you already know cellularly. You already know how awesome and perfect you are. It just needs to get pulled out of you. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Mwah. Bye.